Smalley with Smalley Incorporated, the Property Solutions Company, located in Mount Dora, Florida. So today, guys, I'm going to give you the top 10 tips for buying a house. Now, you want to stay tuned because number 9 of this list is absolutely ingenious, okay? So be sure to stick around for the whole video. So buying a home is an investment, and it's a great investment for anyone. Because think about it, if you paid rent $1,500 a month, within at least like 5 years or so, you have just paid $90,000 off of that. So, and you're not getting anything back as a renter. Now, as a home buyer and a home owner, you are reaping the benefits of owning a home. That is an investment. You can eventually rent it out if you want and have it as a rental property. You could sell it and make a profit. So these are some really important tips for when you're going to buy your home. The very first one is find a real estate agent that you trust. So, hello, I'm a real estate agent. You can definitely hire me. I'd be happy to help. But if you're not in the Central Florida area, you can still give me a call, leave a comment in the comment section stating what area you are, and I can get you in contact with an agent that is fully vetted and that I know personally to refer you out to in your area. And I have agents all over the world, not just in the United States. I have some agent friends in Italy. I know some agents who sell real estate in the Philippines. Then of course, just all throughout the U.S. I have friends. I have friends in California and Colorado and Missouri and Texas and all over the country. I network actively with agents from around the country and around the world, so I can be a better agent to other people. Some of the areas that I'm really good in are Mount Dora and Lake County because I've grown up here in Florida. I've grown up in Central Florida. I know all the areas near the attractions. I know the areas south of the attractions. I know where the good vacation home investments are. I know where the acreage is. If you want acreage, I know where to go find that. And I'm also very knowledgeable about contracts, and I understand the contract inside and out. You can say, hey, what does this mean in the contract? And I'll be able to explain it to you. So you need to find an agent who knows what they're doing and also knows that area. Now, if you came to me and said, hey, Amy, I want to buy a house in Clearwater, I'd be like, I got an agent for that. So, it's really just important to know that the agent knows the area that you want to be in, because they'll be able to tell you all the great eating places, all the fun things to do, especially if you're not from around here. They will help guide you into the area that fits your personality best. Some people, they have a dead set in their mind, like, hey, I'm going to live right here and I don't want to live anywhere else. But once I get to know them, I'm like, I think this area might be a little bit more than what you're looking for. Pretty much 9 times out of 10, I'm right. So don't give myself 100% credit of that. But I would say at least 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty spot on. And it's just mainly from experience and knowing the areas, and that's how well I know these areas. So again, you want to make sure that you know that your agent knows you and knows the area. The second tip is you want to make sure that you get pre-approved for a mortgage loan. In this day and age, no agent will show you a home unless you have a pre-approval letter or you have proof of funds for a cash deal. So, and it's just mainly like and I know for me personally, I've had a lot of people who I've shown like tons of houses to, 20, 30 houses to, and then they end up not getting a loan. And it's a little frustrating on my end, because it's like, okay, well, I can't help them. I can't help them fall in love with this house that they absolutely adore, because they're not pre-approved, and there's nothing I can do about that. But I do have some killer awesome mortgage lenders in my back pocket that I would be happy to send you. And I'll also include that information in a link right on this video as well. So pretty much you want to get in touch with a mortgage lender that meets your needs as well. So I have so many different types of mortgage lenders in my back pocket, and each of them provides something different that the other one doesn't. And the same thing is true with real estate agents as well. But with mortgage lenders, I try to figure out the personality of the buyer and what kind of incentives they might work with. So there's first-time home buyer credits. Well, not all loan officers are approved to be able to do that. So I have some who are, and then I have some who aren't. I have some who work very closely with our hometown heroes and give them closing cost assistance when they go through them. If you want that information, leave a comment below, and I'll be happy to get you in contact with those agents, or those loan officers. And they'll be happy to help you with whatever you need, and they can also like do a preliminary like search for you and see what you might be pre-approved for, just on a basic inquiry. So what you want to do as a buyer, okay, and here's tip number three. Here's tip number 3 for a buyer. You want to ask the right questions. Now here's the killer part. You ready for this? All right, you need to listen carefully to the answers. All right? When you're like, hey, what are the schools are like? And I'm like, well, here's the great schools list, and here's where they rank, or hey, like, I've heard really great things about this school. This is a great school. Another option is the Florida virtual option for if you wanted to go that route. And you want to make sure the area that you live in can accommodate the schools. But honestly, in our state, things a little bit different. So instead of being forced to go to the school that you're zoned for, you can sign a waiver to go to a different school that you are not zoned for. But there is a catch. There's usually no transportation to that school. So you as the parents are responsible for getting your children to and from that school, because there are no special school buses that run kids to the other different schools. The school buses in your neighborhood run to the school that it's zoned for. So that's also very exciting that we have the ability to do that in our state. So another question is, how far do I really want to drive to work every day? Do I really want that hour-long commute every day to live in this house? I do know in my neighborhood, people they work in Orlando and Disney and all of those areas down there, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is like a solid hour, if not with traffic a little over an hour drive. I cannot do that every day. So that's just another thing to keep in mind, though. But I would loosely go around that, mainly because if you really, really love your house, and you really love the area, then you're going to have to compromise somewhere. So if that's something that you really, really love, that area and your job, maybe you can move to something closer to your house in the future, or maybe you absolutely love driving. So it's whatever is best for you, okay? Not what's best for me, not what's best for my best friend. It's what's the best solution for you. And also another thing to note, do not go by Google Maps or anything like that to see how far something is, because sometimes you get traffic. There's areas with heavy traffic, and if you don't like dealing with traffic, you're not gonna like them. So it's important to kind of also see maybe from a house, like, hey, like what would my commute be? Like, what's the traffic like going this other direction? All right. So the other thing is, especially if you're relocating to Florida and you're not here, what you want to do and what you want me to do as your agent, hint, hint, is you would want to do a full walkthrough through the video so that you can see the entire inside of this house. You don't want to put an offer in on something that you don't even like. So, because who would do that? That's silly. So, that's kind of it for those tips. Always ask good questions, though. You know, ask the hard questions. There's some answers I can't legally give you. I can't legally tell you if a neighborhood is safe or not. So what I tell people is go online and find out what the crime's like in that area. Type in the address. See if there's any like sexual predators or, you know, what kind of crimes happen. But honestly, in this day and age, I don't think there's really a neighborhood that doesn't have issues. I've lived in gated communities that there have been break-ins, and I've lived in communities that have security 24/7 and they have break-ins. And so it's honestly, you can't base it solely on that, because there's always something going to be happening. So, all right, ready for tip number 4? All right, don't be afraid to walk away from a bad deal, okay? So, but as your agent, I will advise you if something is bad or not. I'll be like, this is a little bit too much money for what they're asking for. I just don't think, it's worth it. There's too many repairs that have to go on. So, you want to make sure that you make the right decision. You don't want to get yourself into a pickle that you can't get out of. You don't want to really be thrown into that position. So what I advise is, you might absolutely love the location. You might love the house, but the seller isn't going to budge on the price and it's not even going to be worth it. Then you need to kind of start maybe going a different direction. And that's when we would sit down and we would discuss. What do you want? Do you want to pursue this and negotiate? That's another one. Shh. But we need to really figure out what is going to be a happy medium for the buyers and the sellers, because you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. Okay, as a buyer, you can't ask the seller to fix every little thing that's wrong on the inspection report, and as a seller, you can't expect to get top dollar if there's repairs needing to be done, you have smells, you have mold. So if you have a $500,000 house that's in pristine condition and you have a $550,000 house that has mold and smoke and pet urine, which house do you really think the buyers are going to choose. So that's something as a seller you really need to think about in your pricing with your listing agent and buyers. That's something to consider in a price negotiation. All right. So this one is my big one. Number 5 is visit several neighborhoods. And then we visit homes to find that right area. So many times we've had buyers, we go to see a house, we're walking around, and they're like, I don't like the area. And then they look outside the house and they're like, I don't really like this house. I'm really not gonna like this house. I don't know if I want to see this house. I only have to show 5 houses in that neighborhood. And all of a sudden, you don't like the neighborhood. You don't like what it's near. You don't like that it's not close to a Publix or a coffee shop. So what you need to do as a buyer, and because it helps me as an agent, is drive around neighborhoods, drive around the area, be like, oh, I really like this neighborhood. Oh, can we look at some houses in there? Sure, great, let's go for it. Also, drive around the neighborhood at 3 different times of the day. Drive around in the morning, drive around in the afternoon, like lunch hour, and drive again in the evening. And then also, actually, you could probably do it one more time and do it late at night. So you can kind of get the feel of the neighborhood. Are they party wild animals all night in that neighborhood? Are they, quiet? Are you more the wild one? Because you might not want to disturb the neighbors who are in bed by, 10 o'clock and you're out partying until 1 o'clock in the morning every night with your loud music. So just like a house needs to fit your needs and your personality, so does the neighborhood. It needs to be able to fit what you need and what you want. So, and honestly, nothing is worse than finding the home of your dreams just to be crushed because the neighborhood is not what you thought it was. So it's important to do those drive-bys and driving those areas and let me as an agent know, because then I can be like, oh, okay, well, if you like this neighborhood, I think you might also like this neighborhood because it's similar. And believe me, I know so many areas. I will tell you a true story. So we also rent U-Hauls over here and at my office. And I've had people who are like, I thought I was getting a really nice house, but I really don't like the area that I'm in. And I'm like, I mean, first of all, I'm thinking I could have told you that one. So it's important to know the area that you're moving into. Don't jump the gun just because you're like, oh, this looks nice. And then you go like a block down the street and, it's not your style. And that's okay. Not every neighborhood or area is everybody's style. So that's just something to really think about. All right. And trust that your agent knows best. So going back to number 1. All right. So number 6. All right. Always have a home inspection. Okay. So I don't know whose idea it is to not have a home inspection. Even on a new house, do a home inspection. I guarantee there will be something wrong. So always have a home inspection. I have a home inspector in my back pocket too. That's fantastic. And he does a very thorough job. And so I'd be happy to, again, give you my inspector's information as well. So, and what an inspector does. You're like, what the heck? Why do I have to have an inspection? This is important. So, the inspector takes a look at items such as safety. Okay? So, the floors. I mean, what if you were like stepping on the floor and your foot went through the floor. Oh my goodness. Do you know what would happen? You'd hurt yourself. You know how that could have been prevented? An inspector. An inspector would know there was an issue in the floor there. So, and then they'll also like check railings, because like that's the worst thing ever. I lived in a house once where the railing like wasn't really attached. So when you held on to it, it shook all the time. That was in a rental house though, so it wasn't like I had to have a home inspection on that. This is big. This is key. Not all homes have the GFCI outlets, and they are required in all wet areas of the house. They are required in the kitchen. They are required in the laundry room. They are required in the bathrooms. Anywhere there's a wet space, the GFCI outlets are required, and not all houses have them, because there are houses in Florida that are very, very, very old. We live in Florida, there's old houses. So it's important to have an inspector check those items out, and if they don't have working GFCI, then that is a major issue. They also can help find if there's illegal wiring, or if there was an illegal add-on to the home. So basically what I'm saying about that is there were no permits involved and there were no county inspections on those. And I have had that happen to a buyer of mine. And at that point, we just decided just to walk away. And honestly, sometimes you have to do that. No matter how much you like the house, you just can't mess with safety. So, and then now also the inspector will look at other things such as structural components. So we're talking like, again, foundation, if there's a cracked foundation, the roof, it'll let us know how old the roof is, how long maybe longevity is left. And in Florida, 30-year roofs aren't really 30-year roofs. Thank you, sun and hurricanes. All right, number 7. So, this is a big one, but I'm gonna lecture some. I need to do a whole other video on this for sellers, I think. All right, number 7. Look beyond the landscaping and staging. Yes, there are people with clutter everywhere in their house. It's like they must have lived there for like 50 years because there's so much stuff. So you have to really learn how to look past that and look past, whatever's going on. Sellers may be eating dinner. Just have to look over that while you're taking a peek at their home. So don't let that deter you. Landscaping. Just because the landscaping absolutely stinks doesn't mean it's a bad thing, honestly. If I had stinky landscaping, I'd be like, oh, it's a blank canvas. And even on a new house, I throw all the plants out and put new ones in anyways, because I didn't like it. So, landscaping is fun because that's your blank canvas, So don't like look at that. Don't pay attention to that, because you can always do it your own way. Now, if you're on a bigger lot and the HOA and the grass is dead, you might want to negotiate that. Just saying. All right. Number 8. Make an offer. And then it's the waiting game. Oh my goodness. I don't know how my buyers feel, but I know how I feel, and I think I am probably just as stressed as they are. Because here we are, we finally found like our perfect house and our perfect neighborhood and our perfect area. And we wait 3 days. It's like the patience and the anticipation is killing me. I was out on vacation when I wrote an offer. And I'm just like, the whole time, I'm like, oh my gosh, are they going to accept it? Are they going to accept it? Are they going to accept it? They did, by the way, spoiler alert. But it's like, oh my goodness, the anticipation drives me nuts because all I want to do is I want to know. I don't have patience, but doesn't mean you shouldn't have patience. So be patient, and we wait for them to come back. If they accept or if they countered. Alright. So, number 9. You made it! Finally! To this really, really good one. You guys ready for this? I should have a drum roll, right? So, take your time finding that house. Okay? So, yes, we were in a crazy real estate market for like last year and part of this year. Well, guess what? Things have calmed down. Like, thinking finally, I can breathe. So, now that I'm able to breathe again and get back into the swing of things, it's really important to be patient. Going back to patience from the last one, okay? See how I'm doing all these? Be patient and take your time. Don't be in such a rush. If you're currently in a lease right now that you have to be out by a certain date, talk to your landlord about a month-to-month lease. It's really not that hard, and it would also give you the additional time that you need to find that perfect house, because that is the one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to rush into a purchase this big. I mean, would you just be like, oh, I'm so tired of my car, let me go buy another one today? Would you rush into just buying the first car that you saw on the lot? Usually you don't. So you take your time and you research the car. Okay? Just like with buying a house, you need to take your time, research the neighborhoods, and then we will go from there. So you also need to prepare yourself, though, emotionally and mentally for the process, because it's a very exhausting and daunting thing is to buy a house. But I try to take all of that off of you, and I try to do all of those emotions for you. So all you have to do is sit back and relax. That's what I do. All right, ready for number 10? Here it is. All right, know and trust the process. So I have learned with you all just to trust the process of whatever my AFM is up to, my area field manager. So I don't stress about anything, and I just trust whatever he's doing. Same thing in real estate. You have to trust the process and know that I am very knowledgeable in this real estate process. I can help you from beginning to end. Okay, I will help you with the initial showing houses, going over the contract with you, going over all the title items with you. If you have any questions about closing, I'm here for you to help answer them. If I don't know the answer, I will find someone who does, because someone does know the answer. So definitely know and trust the entire process of buying a home, and trust your agent. Alright, so I'm going to end this video by saying these top 10 tips are just the beginning. There's, I wish I could give you every single tip in the world about buying a house, but unfortunately, I'm not here to make a movie, just a YouTube video. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed these 10 tips. And remember, buying a house is a smart investment. It is a smart move. You just need to be knowledgeable and know how to handle the process and have an agent that knows what they're doing instead of one that is absolutely clueless and has no idea of contracts and no idea of negotiations. Because that's a bad real estate agent. So I will have my contact information at the end of this video. So feel free to reach out, message me, and be sure to hit the subscribe button and like our Facebook page.